Welcome to Boardroom Backstage, the podcast about the secrets of leadership. And today, I have a special guest for you. I'm really happy to welcome Manuela Nicolosi, international football referee, but also consultant, coach, and speaker. Manuela, welcome. We should see you now on stage. Welcome.
Hi, Thibault. Thank you very much for inviting me to your podcast.
That's a real pleasure to quickly introduce you because, of course, many people know you as an international football referee. But as I said before, you actually were a consultant before to start your career in football. You worked in finance, if I'm correct, in a big four. And then you accompanied big international companies before to actually step into football. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. And then the fantastic adventure starts, the referring, and I have some information here. You tell me if it's correct, but 5 FIFA tournaments, 2 Olympics, several seasons in Ligue 1 in France, the Women World Cup final, and even the Men's UEFA Super Cup final between Liverpool and Chelsea. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
What an amazing career. Congratulations for that.
Thank you very much.
Manuela, when you look back at all these things, what's your first feeling? Is it like excitement, pride, or something else?
I have a feeling of achievement
Mhm.
and pride, of course, because being part of the first ever female trio to referee a men's European final
Mhm.
and Liverpool Chelsea, if I can be honest, it was my dream to go and watch on a stadium when I was a child. And then I was the referee on the pitch on this English derby. So that is amazing. So for me, it's really an amazing feeling of achievement and pride, of course.
No. And when did it all started? Because of course that's very special for women to reach this top in football, which is a very male-dominated environment. When did it all started? When did you find this passion for refereeing, for football, and this ambition?
I have an enormous passion for football, actually. So I wanted to become a player. And then that was the very first time I discovered that you can do something because you're a boy and you can do something else because you're a girl. Because when I asked to my parents to become a player, because every Sunday we went to the stadium watching football games. So football passion in Italy is a faith. So it's something that you share with your family, with everybody. And I was told that I couldn't become a player because I was a girl. And on the other hand, my brother could play football, so not me. And then I was like, really? So there are something that I can do only because I am a girl. And that feeling of challenge, that feeling of why not, always was inside me when I also started refereeing. And because I started refereeing, not because, of course, of the passion of becoming a referee, because you never want to become the person in the middle of the pitch receiving all the insults during the game. But I wanted to show that also a girl
Mhm.
could do that job, considered as a male dominated environment. And so that was a challenge for me, but also to show that I could do that.
Mhm. Yeah. And I guess it's been, of course, difficult. So can you tell us a bit more about the journey as well? Because you're Italian, you arrived in France when you were like something like 15, or was it earlier maybe?
No, it was later, it was in the university. So I was 20.
Okay. So you were already referring in Italy before to to arrive in France, but that's really in France that you reached the professional level, right?
Correct.
So can you tell us a bit more about journey? What were the main challenges, for example, during these years?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started refereeing in Italy when this job was allowed to be made by girls, because before, being a girl, you couldn't even be a referee. And that year, so when I was 15, the law changed and also a girl could become a referee.
Hmm.
But imagine me going to my first game. So where the players, the public, and the manager were used to male referees. So I arrived there with my blonde hair, with my bag, saying, "Hello, good morning, I'm the referee." So they were shocked, and then they started laughing, saying, "Come on, you're a girl. You understand nothing about football. We don't want you." So imagine the difficulties that I had to go through, because every time it was the same story. Every time it was actually the same reactions, the same laughing, the same fact that only because I was a girl, I couldn't do that. So I received not only the insults that normally a referee received during a game, but I was also insulted because of my aesthetics, because of my body, because of my hair, because of being just a girl. And I had to learn how to manage all of this, because when you try to do your job and you receive insults all the time, you can either listen to them and then put you down, or stop listening to them. But that is a hard job to do. And then I achieved the highest level at the regional level in Italy. And I was told that I had to stay there because they didn't want any female referee at the national level. But my dream was to achieve the highest level at international level. At the same time, I won an Erasmus scholarship for going and studying abroad. And I decided to go to France, even if I didn't speak a word in French at the time. But as I told you before, I like challenges. So I decided to go there. I said, okay, I go there, I will study there, I will learn French, and maybe I could also become a referee in France.
So being a referee is already something difficult in
Mhm.
football, at least. Being a woman in refereeing is, of course, even more difficult. But on top, you did another language when you arrived. But where did that come from? This ambition, this drive that you had, because this is really something special. And knowing a little bit football, I know that it's really really unique. Where did that come from? Where did you find the force to do all these things?
I was raised in a family where the mantra was ad maiora, which is a Latin expression which means always try to do better, always do better. So when I was a kid, I got the highest mark at school, and I also always received ad maiora, ad maiora. So I tried all the sport and I tried everything, but the feedback that I received was always ad maiora. So I think I grew with this mantra, with this mindset, to say to myself, okay, you can do better. You can be better. You can do more. So I like facing challenges, and I like achieve goals. So I am a dreamer and I am an achiever. And I like high goals. So when I started refereeing, I didn't want only to start refereeing. I asked to my cousin that was a referee, which is the highest level a referee can achieve. And I was told is the final of the World Cup. But you know, when you are a player, you can be good also at the regional level, for example, and then you have a player agent come to see you. You are good, and the next Sunday you are in first division. Okay, it happened to Yamal, it happened to many players. But when you're a referee, you can do that. You can jump. You need to go through all the lowest level as a referee, get to be promoted to the highest level, and then go to the regional level, the national level, be among the best, achieve the first division. And by the way, there are only 150 referees in the highest level. So I was part of these few referees. But then you need to be selected as the best among the national referees to be in the FIFA list. And then you start doing the UEFA competitions. And if you're good to FIFA competition, and then only the best of the best do the final.
Yeah.
So not easy, but that was my goal. So I decided that nobody could put himself among me and my goals. And I think this is the winning mindset. When you know that you can achieve something, I knew that I could do that. I knew that I would have done whatever it took to achieve my goals. So it took changing, moving from Italy to France. I do that. It took learning a new language. I did that. It took passing the men's fitness test, because if you want to referee in men's division as a woman, you need to pass the men's test. As I had an executive job, I couldn't train during the day. I went training either 6 in the morning or 10 p.m. because as a consultant, my day was very, very long during my job. So I had to find a way. Was I motivated to do that? Of course, not every day, but I had a clear goal. And I knew that to achieve that goal, I had to train. I had to do what it took.
Yeah. And when you think about it, because many people don't know that referees are actually, of course, insulted sometimes and analyzed. Every decision is analyzed by the stadium, by the crowd, but also by someone in the stadium with the video analyzing every single decision. So you have this constant pressure on and off the pitch, particularly, of course, when you have another job next to that. What was like mandatory for you? How did you learn to overcome these obstacles? What kind of skills maybe did you develop, or capabilities did you develop in this period?
You know, when you start refereeing, everybody, we need to learn the laws of the games. We need to train to pass the fitness test, etc. But when you achieve the highest level, the difference that allow you to be among the best is your mindset, but also how you can manage the stress, how you can manage the emotions. Because as you said, at the stadium, I also refereed in front of 90,000 people, and you are this crowd that is screaming at you, that is doing a lot of noises, and is judging every single decision that you take, and is judging you for everything. So you need to be able to firstly be focused on the game and on the game that is going on in that moment. Because my biggest mistakes I made were when I was focused on the mistakes that I made maybe 10 minutes before. I didn't whistle a penalty, I didn't see a red card. So I'm not talking now with the VAR, but before, without the VAR, if I realized that I had made a mistake during the game and my mind stayed there, I could run, I could see everything around me, but I wasn't able to take decisions because my mind was there in the past. And this is the same also in personal life or in business life. When you're focused on something that happened in the past, you don't see the actual present. You're not able to focus on the present and take the decision that it takes during that moment. So I had to learn how to stay grounded, how to stay in the present, and also how to manage the emotion that of course, were coming to me because I was provoked by other people, by the players that were coming to me at this
Yeah.
distance, screaming at me, telling me that I was not able to do that I made a mistake, and from all the stadium that was screaming at me. So you need to enter into the flow to be focused and to be grounded in that moment. And this was very useful for me also in my job as an executive, because I knew when I had to take the biggest decisions, I had to focus on that moment, no multitasking, focus on that moment, no emotions, and just take the decisions with the clear view, which is the view, which are the goals that I want to achieve. Okay, to achieve those goals, okay, then I need to take this decision. I need to bring my team in that direction, because otherwise I'm just taking decisions like how am I going to dress today? But it's not the same kind of decisions that decide to hire or to fire someone or to put your budget on a certain department or another one.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's interesting because, of course, you're very well placed to do parallels between sports and the corporate world. Of course, we're living in difficult times with geopolitical, economic tensions and issues. What kind of skills do you think leaders should have today, should develop today to again face these difficulties? Next to, of course, there is this emotional aspect that I understand, but do you see other things that are really important for them to develop?
Communication skills. You need to understand that it's your responsibility how your team, how the people you're talking to understand your message. I had to learn a lot about this. I am an NLP trainer, by the way, because I had to understand how to communicate in an efficient way with the players, with the management. When you whistle a penalty at the very last minute and you have everybody around you, you need to take the captain and you need to talk to him in a way that he understands your decision. And it's my responsibility. So this was a game changer when I understood that the way how other people understand your message is only your responsibility. So you need to calibrate your message depending on the person that you have in front of you. You need to understand what's important for your team. You need to understand what's important for the person that you're talking to in order to connect with him or with her and make this person understand your message. If you can communicate clearly with yourself, what's your goal? Also, before a meeting, my goal for this meeting is to achieve this and this, clear to you, then it must be clear also for the people you're talking to. So if the people react in a certain way that is not the way you want them to act, it's because it was your responsibility that you weren't able to make them understand your point of view. So that was a game changer, because also what you don't communicate don't exist. If you don't communicate clearly your goals, your vision, what the team needs to do,
Yeah.
they can't know. We can't take something as just done or realized if we haven't communicated. And when I was told during because of course I made personal training and personal development, and when I was told, remember that what you don't communicate don't exist, it was a game changer for me.
Mm. Yeah, that's of course very interesting because in companies nowadays, it's sometimes difficult to actually be transparent, communicate everything, and for many leaders, I know it is a struggle. So, what would you advise, or what do you advise? Maybe when you coach, for example, leaders or managers, what do you tell them to do to make sure they actually realize that communicating is key towards their teams?
When I coach executives, so I do several role plays
Mhm.
to show them what it really means communicate in an efficient way. But firstly, so the first step that I take is the goal setting. Because many times leaders say, yeah, I take decisions because I was told I need to do that, I need to do that. Okay, but what's your goal setting? What's the priorities? And if you don't have that clear for you as a leader, as a manager, but also in your life, if you don't have clear goal and clear strategies to go there, you can do whatever you want. You can well communicate. You can be, you can learn mindfulness. You can be grounded, but you don't know clearly where you're going.
Mm.
I always do this example. When we enter into our car, okay, and we don't say where we want to go, we just say, Siri, just bring me somewhere. And then Siri brings you wherever she wants to or he wants to. But then you don't have any more gasoline, okay, and you stop. It's the same like your energy. Our energy is our biggest power, okay? Where we focus our energy, okay, there we can achieve results. But we need to know exactly where we want to go. I think I found that the biggest problem of leaders today is they don't have clear goal setting. So I start from there, and then from there, you communicate in a certain way with you and then with your team. And when everything is clear, your mind, also the stress in the team or in the company is released because you have clarity. Clarity means less stress. Why do we also work with habits? Because our body loves what is easy to do. Okay, what is clear? So we got used to do that every time. Okay, so we have habits, so we stay with the habits. We don't like change. But when change are clear, so I show you where you're going, I show you why we are going there, it brings less stress. And the one of the main issue, as you said before, in this society is the highest level of stress.
No. Very interesting. I think it will resonate with many leaders and executives that are watching this podcast. Do you have maybe a final advice or something you saw that is also linked to sport or maybe in your current career? A final advice maybe for the audience, something that you believe really makes the difference for leaders nowadays.
Yes, is to have the courage to take the decision. Because many times we procrastinate our decisions because we are afraid of which are the consequences of the decisions. But not taking the decisions, it's a decision itself. So if we want to win that match, okay, if you want to win the championship, we need to take the courage to take the decisions. Maybe I'm not saying that you have the courage, you take the decisions, and for sure you win. No, maybe sometimes you lose the game, but you learn. It's like it's like also looking at things from a different perspective. You know, I sometimes make also the example of the VAR introduction. So before the VAR, the referee was always used to take the decision himself, okay? Without nobody telling him, okay, come because you make a mistake. And at the beginning, it was very hard for the referee to change. But then he learned that it was not against his or her ego, it was a tool that allowed him or her to watch things from a different perspective. So, as a leader, you need to be humble also enough to see things from a different perspective because we have to take the courage to take decisions, but sometimes we take the decisions based on that information that we have. And it could happen that those information are not 100% of information and the VAR or other people give us more additional information. So we need to be humble enough to say, okay, I took the decisions. based on those information, but now I have new information. So I change my decision, and nobody will judge you for doing that because you are explaining, as the referee does during a game. He explains, I saw a handball, so this is why I'm giving the penalty that I didn't give before. So leaders say, I took that decision, but now have new information, and this is my new decision. And people will appreciate the fact that you will be humble enough to say, okay, I changed my decision because of this and that.
Yeah. Thank you very much for these pieces of advice. So, if I try to recall correctly, clarity, vision, courage, of course, perseverance, resilience, many important skills for leaders nowadays. That's already it for today. Thank you very much again, Manuela. That was very, very interesting to hear your experience, your wise words as well. I remind everyone the book here that you can actually find on the internet, the Chido IO. And I will, of course, share the link as well in this video. And for you all watching this podcast, thank you as well for being here. We hope you liked it. If you want to follow us, you can, of course, follow the Apple Podcast, Spotify, LinkedIn, YouTube, and so on. But if you want to also follow Manuela, you can find her on the socials. So again, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Manuela. Ciao.
Well, thank you.